Okay, so today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a breakdown of a song. We're going to look at Stranded by Gojira, and we're going to be looking at how the riffs are used in song, how they're changed, composed, how it kind of interacts with the drums, and the general kind of tension release throughout the song. So let's get started. So to start off with, we have a Gallop Rhythm. It's not on the beat, it's syncopated slightly, so it gives it this kind of lazy feel. The drums are playing 2 and 4 on the hi-hat, and that's kind of giving us our tempo. At the end of that, we then have a nice little E-flat, flat 5 arpeggio that's got a whammy pedal at +2 octaves, 100% wet, so there's no clean signal coming through. So it goes around once, it repeats. So on the repeat we have our first example of a variation within repetition. The idea of using the same ideas but very slightly tweaking them to keep them interesting. On the arpeggio on the first time round, which you can see on the left hand side of the screen, there is a note at the end of it on 2nd fret on the 3rd string. On the repeat that's now not there, that's missing, so taking away that note it just slightly changes it. So now carrying on. With the note. Without the note. So next we have the open chord stab, which is used quite a lot throughout Gojira's work. It's kind of similar, kind of characteristic in the way that Machine Head use their natural harmonics in quite a lot of the songs. So open chord stab. And we're back to that original idea with the note on the 2nd fret. Repeat. Without the 2nd note, back to the chord stab. So something interesting to note here is that the drums have been up to now been playing on 2 and 4, been playing a straight 4/4 groove, and the guitars have been slightly behind the beat. So what's quite nice here is that the guitars, they don't change, but the drums pull in with the guitar to make it have that fuller sound. So if you listen carefully, if we come back a little bit, drums are behind, now they're tied up. And that kind of pulls it all together, so you've gone from the kind of guitars floating on top of the drums to them being all nice and together, signifying that we're going into something different, which is now our verse. So the verse, it's pretty similar to the intro, so again we're doing our repetition with slight variations. We've still got that galloping going, but rather than having the gaps between it, it's now a constant pulsing brum 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 brum. We've still got our little arpeggio at the end as well, but it's been slightly tweaked. So we don't have the whammy pedal anymore, but we have a pull-off right at the end. So slight variations again, continuous rhythm, changes to the arpeggio. Carry on. Chorus time. So the chorus, it's kind of changing the ideas up, and we're kind of going for a more melodic, harmonic idea with a chord progression. So this is where it also gets a little bit interesting as well. So the drum groove is just a straight 4/4 drum groove, but the guitars are playing a 6/8 riff over the top of the 4/4. And so this is called a polymeter, so you've got one instrument playing in 1 meter, 6/8, and then another instrument playing in a different meter, 4/4, and that they kind of lay over the top of each other. As they repeat, they kind of desync and sync back up, so after, I think it's 3 bars, after 3 bars the guitars tie back up with the drums and then come out and in and out and in and out. Next up is verse 2. In verse 2 it starts with just the bass guitar. The normal guitar kind of cuts out, makes it a bit thinner, changes up the dynamics. The bass guitar is just doing the same thing as it was in the first one. It's doing that kind of galloping groove. Next up, the guitars are going to come in. And it's using ideas it's already used in the past, so it's got that arpeggio again and an open chord stab, both already used. And then we've got that nice little 3-note melody, which is kind of signifying again we're building up, going into something new, which is now second chorus. For this, let's count first the drums in 4/4. And now let's do our guitars. So as you can see, you've got 4/4 over 6/8. So we're now going into a bridge, which is the same as the introduction. Whammy pedal back. So the variation for this is we've got our original idea back and now we're going to add another layer on top of it. So this comes in the form of an octave melody. So your brain's kind of like, oh okay, I know what's going on, we've had that original introduction melody and we're going like, oh, there's now this kind of new flavour coming in with the octaves. And again, the drums were going on the 2 and 4 like they were in the intro, and then they're going to tie back up again with the guitars to go into the next chorus. Chorus. Drums. Guitar. So after that chorus, it's now a variation on it. It's going to use most of the same chords but played in kind of splits. So bottom 3 strings, top 3 strings. Again, this is repeating the idea of the chorus but with a variation. So also listen to the bass line as it's gone through this. That's where the interest is now coming from. It's the guitars are kind of sticking to the chords and the little melody, but the bass is doing something a bit more interesting. Outro. The outro is pretty similar to the intro on the whole. It's got the Gallop Rhythm, it's got the whammy pedal arpeggio. The interest this time and the variation comes in the drum fill. Drum fill. Drum fills again. And again, guitars, bass, drums all tie up for the end to give that unified big final push. And that's a breakdown of the song. Hopefully you found that useful. If you want me to do more of these, let me know. If you want me to go into more depth, let me know as well, because it's the first one I've done. I hope you found it useful, and see you all soon.